Hello and welcome to this edition of Halcyon Blink. My name's Lon Risley. I'm going to be your host for this episode. And on this edition I'm going to be talking about a film that, it tears me because I want to give it so much credit, but when you break it down, yeah. The Man with the Iron Fists, RZA's first foray, or the RZA, the Jizza, the Wu-Tang Clan. Shout out to Chappelle Show. The first directorial or producing debut. I know he had a hand in the creative process of this film. But when you look at the cast, it's kind of ridiculous this film exists. You've got Dave Bautista, who's a much bigger star now than he was back then, admittedly. Russell Crowe and Lucy Liu. Odd. And obviously the RZA is as the titular man with the iron fists. What's the story about? Well, there's a bloke, and he gets some fists, and the maid of iron.
But he didn't say anything!
Oh, I suppose you want more description than that, Your Majesty. Fine. Basically, it's set in medieval China, or rural China, thousands of years ago, in an alternate reality because there's some mystical shit that goes on here. And basically, there's a war, there's factions that are warring with each other over power in the region. There's a emperor's block of gold. There's a boutique slash brothel that everyone keeps visiting, that Lucy Liu runs.
Yes.
Compliments of the house.
Oh, how kind.
Is everything to your satisfaction?
So far, so good.
Dave Bautista turns to brass. This film is a bit of a mess. From a purely conceptual perspective, it thinks it has a simple enough storyline to carry the day. The problem is they have so many characters and so much going on at any one point. It's almost impossible for anyone to follow it logically without starting to poke holes in not only the coincidences that arrive as a result of the story, but also a lot of the bullshit in terms of, well, hang on a second, if he beat him, how can he beat him? And that doesn't make sense. And why is this plot here? And more to the point, what's he even doing here? Because he doesn't add anything to the situation. Case in point, Russell Crowe's character. Russell Crowe's character arrives shortly after the beginning, makes a pretty pronounced entrance.
Is Mr. Knife. You may call me Jack.
And a couple of scenes later, it's actually reasonably clear as to why he would agree to take on this film.
What if I put the baby's arm inside you?
It must be very good opium.
Now, bearded motorboating from an Australian who pretends to be American with anger issues, this film's other issues is its pacing and, to a degree, its dialogue. You can tell the RZA had a reasonably clear idea of how he wanted the story to progress, but the problem is that the hero character, who ends up being the man with the iron fists, is built to be sympathetic in the narrator at times, but he's absent for a lot of the story, and he's not the best overview because, unfortunately, RZA's delivery is so dreary and non-enthusiastic. It's difficult to get invested in anything he's talking about because he hypes up everything like, man, these guys bad motherfuckers. But there's no investment from the audience. At least I never felt like I get properly invested in any of these characters because I'm just buying that they're badass. And a lot of the fight scenes, though, I will concede, they're fun, albeit bullshit. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon if it was directed by the people that did Dragon Ball Z. Very, very short bursts of action with a lot of talk post and prior to hype up who they're about to fight and why they're a threat. The particular characters of Silver Lion and Bronze Lion, fine, they have a good intro scene where they kill Golden Lion, although it's not revealed initially at least.
Down, ruthless, wow. You wanna get your feet back the fuck out.
Bronze Body, Dave Bautista's character, he's like a mercenary they just bring in because they need to have someone cool. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a pretty cool effect, but basically the Terminator from Terminator 2, the T-1000, only way less cool because he's Dave Bautista. He's a big guy, but Dave Bautista, weirdly enough, I've never found to be particularly threatening. I don't look at him and feel fear for some reason. Now, I might say differently if the 6'3", 6'4", 250-pound man was stood right here, in which case I'd say, number one, what are you doing in my house? And number two, why didn't you pick the SmackDown contract? Okay, wrestling nerdetry aside, the fact remains though, the fight scenes are fun. I like the fight scenes in this film, and there's plenty of them to keep you busy. In fact, one of my favourite fight scenes involves Brass Body. It's actually the crescendo fight at the end of the film, the big climax.
Tell us now. I thought your clan was extinct. My clan is extinct. I killed them.
I do also like some of the aesthetics in the film. The Iron Fists, once they're on, do look pretty cool.
You and the object become as one. It becomes a slave to your will, your mind, your chi.
And I do like the dagger suit that the guy has. That's pretty cool too. However, as much as the cinematography tries to be cool, I think it tries too hard, and that's how I'd summarize this film. It's a nice enough concept, and with a cast like this, it had every chance to succeed. And with the RZA producing and generally creative directing the thing, with obviously the man's soundtrack is absolutely amazing, I'll give this film that. The problem is that I think he had too much creative control, and to a degree, I don't think he should have been in the film, certainly not as the titular character. It felt like that role should have gone to someone who could bring a bit more emotional depth to it in the situations. I mean, the scene where he gets his arms cut off, it's not inherently gruesome, albeit I know it's trying to be, and I don't feel like there's a tremendous amount of emotional investment in the audience at that point either, because we just haven't seen enough of the character, we haven't had enough of him on screen to really get to know him and like him. So when he gets his arms chopped off, we know it's just a plot device to progress things onwards to him getting his new badass arms, which really makes you wonder why he didn't do that in the first place. If he could do that and make himself Iron Hands and still make shit, why wouldn't he just do that in the first place?
Why? Why?
Lucy Liu's character as well feels a bit forced, and she's okay in this film, but she doesn't stand out. And again, the crescendo of the film is a lot of circumstantial stuff that doesn't really make any sense. Again, it tries hard, but ultimately how I describe this film, like I say, is a really good-hearted attempt to make a cool Western / Chinese Kung Fu style film with all the added benefits of powers and Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, wire harness stuff, but without the intriguing story of the artistry that really made that film great and this film mediocre at best. So if I'm going to rate The Man with the Iron Fist, it's a 7 out of 10 experience. I still enjoy the film. Again, the soundtrack's fun, the fight scenes are fun, Russell Crowe going absolute quagmire levels of sexual deviant at times is fun to watch, and it helps me understand how you can get certain Hollywood actors involved in a project. So I don't know, maybe one day if I'm struggling with Halcyon, I just need to hire some hotties and get him in here and say, dude, how's about you come and host a couple of episodes with me for a time? No, I couldn't possibly do that. I'm an Oscar-winning actor. I got floozies.
Who else but Quagmire?
He's Quagmire, Quagmire.
Giggity
Yeah, I don't really want to have to resort to that, but show business is a bitch. I'd recommend this film to people again who maybe after a kung fu fix but don't want something that's drenched in dramatic overtures and subtext and all the rest of that jazz. They just want to see someone punch someone else in the face with big old metal fisticuffs. Fair enough to you, but beware that it lacks a lot of quality in certain places, so just know that going in. So what do you think? The Man with the Iron Fist, have you seen it? What do you think compared to its contemporaries? Are there any other films in the kung fu genre that you think are better? Or do you think this film is amazing and that I'm talking a bunch of crap? In which case, let me know in the comments description below. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching this episode of Halcyon Blink. Please like, share, and subscribe. Check out some of the other content creators in the description below. Follow me on Twitter. And as always, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you guys in the next episode of Halcyon Blink.